Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo, and this is News and Week in Review. We're going to be diving into all the stuff, and there are a bunch of stuff this past week because, well, frankly, because I missed a whole bunch of things. It's time to catch up. I've been at PAX. In fact, all the games you see on the table is my Pax Haul for the most part. This is, we'll get to it. We'll talk about it. Topic of the week is going to be the Pax Haul, which is just me going over the games and talking with them. But timestamps down below as always, links to everything I talk about. And with that, let's go ahead and start this off, starting off with Reiner Knizia. Reiner Knizia has a video over from Euronews, the 70,000 views, good for them already, but basically a video on the man who's designed over 700 board games. That would be Reiner Knizia. Fun little video, it's like 4 minutes long, just brief little notes about Reiner Knizia, getting involved in games, the design process. Honestly, it's short enough that it doesn't go into the kind of depth I would have loved to have seen, so it wasn't as educational as I would have liked from what I already know of Reiner Knizia, but definitely a very cool piece for those who don't know, and or if you have 4 minutes of time, throw it on in the background. But he is one of the most prolific designers. He's designed a whole bunch of games that I have, well, definitely enjoyed, and so that's that. Then moving on to that, we have Terraforming Mars board game is set for a screen adaptation from Cobalt Knight. Basically, they've optioned the rights to the Terraforming Mars, the board game. Is it going to be a TV show, a movie? I don't really know. It's leaning towards a series, but it might go a feature. Whatever it is, they've optioned the rights for Terraforming Mars. Am I excited about this? I mean, it's an adaptation of a game I love, my favorite game of all time. That doesn't mean it's going to be a movie I love. Did I read the books? Yes, Terraforming Mars does have books. No, I did not read the books. Will I watch the movie? Almost certainly yes. Am I excited for it? That's a definite no. Moving on, we have over here, this one I was more excited about. Andrew Garfield did a video of 10 things Andrew Garfield can't live without. Fun little video, just going over different things, and including my little Mr. Beast ad in the middle of this YouTube thing over here. But either way, 10 games Andrew Garfield can't live without, and the one that I thought particularly was interesting is Codenames. Codenames and Bananagrams were on his list, and I very much appreciated seeing that there. Why? Because I like Codenames. That's the only reason why. Then we have over here, we have a little bit of a spoiler from, basically some sort of spoiler of Eric Lang, Codename Tectonica, co-designed with Phil Walker Harding. The log line is, Phil wanted to make an Eric Lang game, and Eric wanted to make a Phil Walker Harding game. It mutated into this magical gateway plus strategy game that really feels like something only the pair of us would have made. Blood Rage Redacted. But bearing this mid-thread, because I know there's some who only care about this game, I've thrown away 2 full prototypes in the last 2 years and finally landed on a third that I love. Still true to the original concept, but less selfish and experimental, more focused on fan service, and being even more Blood Rage than before. It's slow going, however, patience. I feel Blood Rage 2 is the pot of gold and the rainbow, the game that we'll always be talking about but never actually get. But maybe we'll actually get it. We'll see. Blood Rage 2. It's been teased multiple times. We'll see what actually happens. Then we have a board game auteur makes his next move. This seems to be the week for multiple pieces around people in the board game space. This is a New York article around Isaac Childres. Isaac Childres is the designer of Gloomhaven and Frosthaven and Jaws of the Lion and all those things, and a bunch of other games like Forge War or whatever it is. Some other games. We have the Gloomhaven, what's the Gloomhaven other game? The town building one. I can't remember what it's called. But there are other games, but primarily Frosthaven, Gloomhaven, and all of that. But we have that from a New York article. This was actually a very, very entertaining read. Speaking of, the Reiner Knizia piece I thought was fun, but too short, not interesting enough. This one I thought was very interesting. Goes into a lot of detail, a lot of backstory, stuff I wouldn't have otherwise known. I thought this was very cool. Then moving on, we have Philip DeFranco, not Phil Walker Harding this time, but Philip DeFranco. If you haven't been watching, Philip DeFranco is probably my favorite YouTuber. I've been watching him, I want to say, for like 12 years straight. I've probably watched 98% of the content he puts. That's not true. He puts out shorts now and other stuff on his main channel, the Daily Video. I think I've caught like 98, 99% of them over the past 12 years. I almost always watch them. And this past week, he did a daily dive into a Magic the Gathering. He did, I think it was this past week. It was like 9 days ago, a week and a half ago. He did a daily dive into Magic the Gathering, just talking about the stuff going on with Hasbro and the series, and I thought it was interesting. I'll link to it. My link will have the specific timestamp of the piece. It's a little bit of an interesting conversation around what Wizards of the Coast, I think it's Wizards of the Coast, is doing but with Magic the Gathering, and how they're running it into the ground. Those are dramatic statements that likely won't hold true, but they definitely are seeing some problems in the MTG line. Then we have, I think this one's going to be BoardGameCoffee. BoardGameCoffee is doing 12 days of giveaways. Over on his channel, he's doing a bunch of giveaways, doing a bit of a collection tour, giving away games. Check it out if you want to get games. He's going to be giving away some of them. Then we have over here the announcing. Speaking of stuff here, we have announcing the role-playing game. Gloomhaven's announcing a role-playing game. It's going to be true to Gloomhaven's roots in the sense that it's going to be a diceless RPG system. This is going to use a modifier deck, that's right, the Gloomhaven modifier deck, to modify stuff in the game. You'll also be able to mix things up in a way you weren't in the physical tabletop game. So for example, you won't just have a I can't remember the names of the characters, an Inox Brute, you can instead have a Quattro Brute if you want. You can mix up the various things in ways that you didn't actually see happen in the board game. That is the freedom of well, the RPG system. Will I play it? Probably, honestly. I'll be an Inox Spellweaver, an Orchid Cragheart. Basically, I'll probably play it. When, how, I don't know, but we do plan on diving into RPG content on the show at some point, and so hopefully that happens. And then we have over there, we have Lords of Ragnarok announced that they will be closing their PM in December 12th, I want to say. December 12th, they're closing their PM, so this is your last chance to go ahead and get in Lords of Ragnarok, at least for right now. And then from there, speaking of, one door closes, another opens, we have River Wars Reloaded opening their PM over on GameFound. You can check that out as well. And with that, we'll go ahead and stop with the news of the week and move on to instead the topic of the week, which the topic of the week is going to be PAX Unplugged. Let's put my computer down over here and restart that when I have a chance. But PAX Unplugged, this is going to be my PAX haul. I've done convention haul videos in the past. I always wrestle with whether I should or shouldn't, because a convention haul video is something that's otherwise known as, here are all these shiny things that I got. And those are, the inherently nature of an unboxing is that to a degree. I wrestle with this, my point is. I think it's fun. I enjoy watching other people's hauls, but it's a weird thing. So I decided this time to stick it in my week in review, because honestly, topics in the week in review have been hit and miss as far as how often I have them. But instead, so we have this PAX haul, which is the games I got at PAX. There are a bunch of games I got while at PAX. Decided not to put those in here, although I was tempted to, because I got the Valeria system of games. I want to talk about those. But in any case, what do we have over here? I'm going to briefly go over each of these games, why I got them, what compels me, what interests me. Some of them I've played, some of them I have not played. But let's go ahead and start over here on the right. We have Starship Captains from AEG. This is one that I want to say they announced at Gen Con, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember if they had them at Gen Con. I certainly didn't get one at Gen Con. But I stopped by the CGE booth. They actually have Lost Winds of Arnak going to have an expansion coming up. But they had a few things. They had Starship Captains. They had Deal with the Devil too. Deal with the Devil definitely interested me. The problem with that is, practically speaking, I don't know when I would actually play it. It's a game that plays with an app specifically at 4 players and is a bit of a beast to actually teach it initially. So Deal with the Devil, even though I heard a lot of people who played it, they really enjoyed it, I don't like taking on copies, whether I pay for them or get a review copy, I don't like taking on copies that I'm not going to table that soon, and I don't know when Deal with the Devil I would table. That said, Starship Captains has been on my radar to try out, and so I definitely will be diving into this one. Plays well too, should be easy enough to table. Then we have My Little Everdell. Technically, I didn't get this at PAX, but because it was a PAX release, I'm going to show it. This is sent to me a week before PAX to have coverage on, so if you checked it out already, or if you missed it, I had a video with my son going over My Little Everdell review. We played it, we liked it, you can check that in the review, but yeah, that's over here. So this is the one that I've already played. We have Mil Fury over here. Speaking of Reiner Knizia, we have a Reiner Knizia game on the table. Reiner Knizia and Devere Games. Devere Games is a company that has definitely been hitting it out of the park for me recently. They've been doing great jobs. Overall, just doing a solid job. I've been really enjoying their games, the most recent ones. And I heard a few people talk about Mil Fury. Jeremy Howard pointed me in this direction. He pointed out 2 games at the Devere booth I should check out. Winter, which is a small little box game, and Mil Fury. And overall, this one, I got a little bit of brief demo walkthrough of it. Looked very cool. Got some solid acrylic tiles. Seemed very Knizia in its design. Definitely excited to dive into this one. That's Mil Fury. Then we have Bargain Basement Bathysphere from WizKids. This is one that wasn't on my radar at all, in the slightest. I didn't even know it existed, but a few people at the convention were talking about it, this solo campaign roll and write experience. It looks cool. It's basically a solo campaign roll and write experience. I think it's like 20 missions or 20 something, but basically going through a solo campaign roll and write experience. I can keep saying that. The point of it is that it's solo campaign and roll and write, and those things do seem intriguing to me. Honestly, it seems like the kind of thing that's great for like travel or airplane stuff, and I'm doing a lot more airplane stuff than I used to, so yeah, very intrigued by Bargain Basement Bathysphere from WizKids. Then we have Through the Ages, New Leaders and Wonders. This is one I picked up while at the CGE booth, primarily because Jesse from Crackloaf stole my copy. That basically means that I brought my copy over to do a full playthrough of Through the Ages with Jesse. You can check that out over on Crackloaf's channel. Went up a few months ago, but he still has my Leaders and Wonders, and I was like, I could try to get it back, or I could just get another copy, because honestly, I want him to have it. It's a good expansion for the game. If you like Through the Ages, Leaders and Wonders is just an excellent way to just integrate into the experience. I highly recommend it. Think it's worth trying out. So yeah, Leaders and Wonders, just picking it up so I can proxy the copy that Crackloaf has. We have Boop from Smirk and Laughter. Boop is their newest abstract game, they have a few abstracts by now. They have Shobu, they're most famous for that. But Boop is the little cat-based abstract game. It involves booping these little cats onto this mattress, onto this couch or bed or whatever it is, and using it's an abstract strategy game. where you're going to be manipulating the cats and trying to take out your opponent. I haven't actually played it yet, but it looks cool in general. I mean, this is very cute looking. I like the fact that it's just called Boop. It's simple, it's cute, seemed to be doing well, so I picked that one up. Then we have Marvel Remix. This one definitely was on my radar, although I might regret it, because this is based on the Fantasy Realms game. It's based on the Fantasy Realms game, which I haven't played, but I have played Red Rising, which is also inspired by Fantasy Realms. So Marvel Remix, I'm basically hoping the IP does it for me. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but it's basically all about gathering cards and trying to optimize your score at the end. I am a sucker for putting Marvel onto putting Marvel as a theme onto games that I like or should like, and they do enhance the experience for me. They do not make it a game that I will inherently like. I've played Marvel Legendary, and I do not like that one bit. But Marvel, that's exaggeration. I think Marvel Legendary is fine. It's fine. It does not inspire me. But Marvel Remix will either be a hit or a miss, as any game will be a hit or a miss. But it's taking a mechanic system that I thought was good but not great, putting a Marvel theme on it, and I'll see what, I don't know if they may change it to it past that, but I definitely plan on diving into that. Then we have the Keystone North America Wooden Token Pack. That's one I picked up just because I've really been enjoying Keystone. Speaking of solo games, that has a good solo option as well as a good multiplayer option. I've been enjoying diving into Keystone. I'll be re-reviewing it shortly. I reviewed it doing the Kickstarter, covering the prototype, but this is the token pack. I like it enough to pick up the token pack. It's a good game. We'll talk more about that when we re-review it. Then we have 3 small games over here, of which I've played one of them. We also have Codenames, another little Codenames demo I picked up while at the CG booth. I don't even know if it's meant to be travel Codenames. If it is, we're keeping that. But we have 3 small box games from why is it, oh my gosh, Seppi Yoon, I want to say. I don't see the name over here, his name. I want to say Seppi, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember the designer. Seppi something, I can't remember exactly. But he has a bunch of these small box games. He actually has another game coming up as well. It's not a small box game, but he has 3 of these. He has, well, we have the Mouse Cheese Cat Cucumber. We have Skirl or Die. I've never heard of this one. I've heard of this one, but haven't played it. And then we have over here, the one I did play, which is the Hedgehog Hop. This is a fun little game. It's a fun little simple game, all about trying to figure out how to optimize your score at the end of the game, based on the cards you have in your hand, how you slide them around the table. Very compelling. They had this really cool acrylic version over there that was like $65 for a smaller, I think this is a small cheap game. It's like $65 for an acrylic, strong, whatever, cooler version of this game. I just don't know if I like it enough to pay $65 for the cooler version, but I definitely did like the cooler version of it. So yeah, 3 small box games from Seppi something. Then on this side over here, we have a few games over here. We have Marrakesh. Marrakesh from the Stefan Feld City Collection. In general, Marrakesh has been, I think, one of the first or possibly only new ones in the Stefan Feld City Collection. But I like it. I like it a lot. Marrakesh is one that I had a chance to play before they ran the Kickstarter. Really enjoyed it. It's one of the new ones. It's a new Stefan Feld game. A lot going on here. I think it's really solid. I'm looking forward to dive back into it. I know they've made some changes since I played it last. I don't know exactly when I'll be tabling it, but I certainly will be tabling it and reviewing it as soon as I have a chance. Solid game. Marrakesh. Then we have an Age Contrived. This is one where I actually want to show you something over here. An Age Contrived, this is one that they're running demos of at PAX, and it's going to be an upcoming Kickstarter. But I want to show you what this thing over here because it is cool. Yes, it's a little it's about me, it is, but it's cool. It's cool because you can make it about you. This is basically over here. We have, I hope you can see that, we have Alex Radcliffe Board Game Co. That's printed on my box. That's not just a reviewer copy. That's an option people will have. I don't know if it's going to be all backers. I don't know if you have to pay extra for it. But you'll have the option for basically customizing your own version of the game. That's cool. Also, the components of this thing are insane. We'll talk more about it when we cover this one. An Age Contrived is an engine builder. A lot of things going on in it. Some things I like. Some things don't like quite as much. Some of the graphical stuff are not to my taste as much. But we'll talk more about that. Lots going on here, but overall, lots of people really enjoy this one from playing this one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Let me organize my boxes here. I'm looking forward to covering this one, to talking more about it. It's a bit of a beast to sit down and play, to teach, to table, all of that, but it's very cool as far as what the game is doing, and also that whole box deluxification, personalization thing. It makes the game harder to trade later, but it is pretty cool if you like it. I think it's a very cool concept, and I'm curious to see if other companies do it. The idea of, like, there really is a strong sense of ownership of it, of like, it feels like my game. In fact, the irony is I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be sending it on to other people when I'm done covering it, and I kind of don't want to, because it feels like my game. But I will. I still will. In any case, that's that. Then we have Ascension Tactics. Ascension Tactics Inferno from Stoneblade Entertainment. That's going to be the newest version of Ascension Tactics. I had a chance to sit down and table this one. My first time playing the Ascension Tactics system. I think it's... I only played a demo, so it was like 10 points instead of 30. I do want to play it fully. Also, there's a full solo or maybe co-op. I can't remember if it's co-op or solo version of the game as well. But it's basically a deck-building skirmish game. I'm intrigued to dive into it more. We'll talk about it later. Then we have Kapow. Kapow is definitely the, I want to say, the surprise hit for me. Because some of these I haven't played yet, so I can't call some of them a surprise hit. I can't call Milfiori Starship Captains a surprise hit. I haven't played them yet. I did play a bunch of games at the convention. Some I didn't get, some I didn't, some weren't available to get. But I think the surprise hit for me was probably Kapow. Probably because it went from being a game I had no interest in. I knew it existed. I had seen the Kickstarter, but I had no interest in Kapow, to being one that I really enjoyed. This is one where it's basically from Wise Wizard Games, from Wise Wizard Games, and it's a 2-player head-to-head dice battling system. Not that similar to Dice Throne, but very, very, very different than Dice Throne at the same time. This one's going to be rolling dice behind your screen, building up your dice pool, building up your dice faces, yes, there's dice construction, and using your asymmetric characters to try to figure out how to assign dice and allocate dice in ways that will build your own tableau, defend, and attack, taking down your opponent's health down to nothing. Worked really well. Played one game, but it was easily the surprise hit. Not my favorite game by a long shot, but the one I went from nothing to just... This was the one that I played and thoroughly enjoyed from Wise Wizard Games. And that's going to be our PAX Unplugged list. We'll come back to these as far as games at the end of the table. Usually I do at the end of this whole weekend review, I do which games do I want to play, and I'll point out the specific ones I'm going to be trying to table this week. We'll see which ones I get to. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into the weekend review, starting off with what I played. Most of my things are still not logged because I'm way behind. That's just the way it is. But starting with this past Thursday, we had at PAX, Professor Meg and I actually had a camp co-op meetup. Basically, we stream over on Camp Co-op. We have a bunch of people in the community. So we ran a little meetup over there for people in that Twitch community. Played a bunch of stuff. I played Welcome to the Moon, taught a bunch of people at the table that one. Dove into Tsar, playing that only 2-player, but managed to teach Devin from Devin Talks Tabletop Tsar. Then played Nidavellir. We were playing different alternating groups. I know Meg was at one point running cartographer sessions. So at points we were running games all together. At points we were splitting up. But I got a bunch of games played over there. Nidavellir, still solid. I still need to play with the expansion. I did not pick up the expansion. The Nidavellir sold out super quickly at PAX. Then on Friday, played Framework. I got a chance to play Framework at PAX. They're doing a teach and play, and I love Framework. We have an Age Contrived. Managed to sit down briefly to play a bit of that. Not a full game, but dove into it briefly. We have a flicking game. What's the flicking game? What flicking game did I play? There was a flicking game I played, but I have this note in my notes as just a flicking game. I'll have to remember what it is before I log my plays. And then we had Roll and Write Vengeance. I managed to dive into that briefly over at the board and dice table. Then on Saturday I got to play Crokinole. That's not the flicking game I'm referring to, but that is definitely a flicking game too. Crokinole is amazing. Managed to sit down with Jeremy Tracy actually and play Crokinole with Jeremy Tracy, which is excellent. Then I played Gosu X a few times over at the Hachette booth. Gosu X, I played the original Gosu. I don't know if I'm going to be bothering to pick up the new Gosu. Gosu X, I think it mostly holds true to the original Gosu, but it didn't do enough to inspire me to pick it up and play it. We have Rebellion Unplugged, had Joyride, managed to sit down on the table that one. That's going to be another racing, beat-em-up kind of Mario Kart style game. We'll be covering that more, so I'll talk about that more later. There was a game at the Arcane Wonders table that I can't remember. It was very Las Vegas and polyomino themed. I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to find the name. Again, I took notes, and usually I use BG stats to cover my plays, but in this case, when I'm at a convention, I just put them all in my email, log what I can. Then we had Catacombs. What's the Catacombs? Catacombs game. I'm losing my mind. Play the Arcane Wonders game, play the Catacombs game. I don't even know what the Catacombs game is, so I'm going to have to skip past that one. We have Railroad Inc. Played Railroad Inc. as well. Got a chance to dive into that one, just covering it back at our place. Then we had Sunday. Sunday we played Calico. Calico was one that I managed to teach. Where did I teach that? That I actually went to. I went to New Jersey at the convention, played Calico and taught Calico. Back at the convention, played Kapow and Ascension Tactics, the Orders convention, then that. Then we had on Monday. Monday I managed to dive into Empire's End. This one I played at Origins a while ago. Empire's End is currently active Kickstarter. I might have coverage of that one up for you soon. We have, or today, we'll see. No, not today. Tuesday. Probably Tuesday. Then we have, speaking of Tuesday, later on Tuesday, we had Frosthaven. Getting a bunch of plays of Frosthaven in. This is basically pre and post convention, playing a bunch of games of Frosthaven, because that's something I'll be diving into, playing a full campaign of Frosthaven. We have Hoplomachus. Oh, a bunch of games of Hoplomachus. Played a few rounds of that as we went through that. So Hoplomachus Victorium is one that I've been slowly going through. Played a few more rounds of that. We have a bunch of rounds of the, I dove heavily into the Exit game, we're going to have review coverage of this up today, but I played heavily through the Exit game, the Hunt for the Golden Book. That's an advent calendar. And then we have on Wednesday more Frosthaven as well as Rove from Addicts Games, diving into more of that. And then finally we have Cartographers, playing a game of Cartographers over on Tabletopia. And that's what we have as far as the games I played, which brings us to the weekend review. Weekend review starting off with Saturday. Saturday I had a review for Mechanical Beast. I liked it a lot. I had some complaints about it. Overall 3.5 out of 5. I like it as a solid solo game. I don't imagine it stays forever, but I imagine it stays for right now. Later on Saturday we have Paperback Adventures. Speaking of solo games, this is from Fowers Games. Really enjoyed this one. It's basically a Slay the Spire-esque ward game with a lot of progression. Overall really enjoyed it. I imagine it sticks around for a while. On Sunday, we had games leaving the collection. Speaking of things that do and don't stick around, this is actually a lighter games leaving the collection than usual. I've just been fairly busy with a lot of stuff, and so I haven't got a chance to really purge that much. But I got 9 or 10 games, depending on how you count it, out of the collection, which is always good. Every game that leaves is one less game to have to mentally think about. I'm always trying hard to get rid of games. Some stick around, some don't. We'll see. That was Sunday. Then on Monday we had 2 back or not to back. Sorry for the pause there. I'm just thinking. Well, I'll talk about it another time. There's something about games leaving the collection. I'll talk about it now, because now I'm spoiling it. I just paused, because I've been debating making the games leaving the collection a Patreon-exclusive series, a once-a-month Patreon-exclusive series. There are reasons for that. We'll talk about it maybe next week. In next week's Week in Review, I'll talk about the reasons, too. I haven't decided yet, but I've been debating making games leaving the collection a Patreon-exclusive series. Anyways, back to Monday. Monday, we had 2 back and not to back, going over a whole bunch of campaigns, a whole bunch of things that I don't remember what was in the video. We had the newest KTBG game was there. I don't remember what else we had. A bunch of games. I don't remember. Then Tuesday, I did a review for Bad Company. I was excited for that one. Lots of hype around it. Did not work quite as well for me. I thought it was totally fine, but not stand out at all. Then on Tuesday, we had a review for Copenhagen from Queen Games. Really enjoyed that one. I think it's a great polyomino gateway game. Unfortunately for me, Baron Park already has that slot, so Copenhagen is a game that I do recommend and do enjoy, but probably won't stick around. Then later on Tuesday, we have Tiny Turbo Cars. That's a review for Tiny Turbo Cars from Horrible Games. Horrible Guild is their new name. They stopped calling themselves Horrible Guild Games a while ago. Tiny Turbo Cars, I like a lot. Speaking of the whole racing, beat 'em up, mash 'em up genre, really enjoy Tiny Turbo Cars. Think it's great, accessible, easy to play, good at higher player counts, especially if you have the expansion that gives you 5 or 6 players. But yeah, like that one. On Wednesday, we had another live video. Every Wednesday, well, usually every Wednesday is our live content, and this was a PAX recap with myself, Devin, and Meg, going over our general convention, talking about the games we played, the people we met, the interactions we had, generally just talking about a whole bunch of things. It's our usual live format with a bit of a twist as far as PAX coverage thrown in. Then on Wednesday, later on Wednesday, I had a review of Mind Management. It's not a review, a solo play of Mind Management. I basically play against the app. They have an app that will mimic, the hiding and all that stuff. So I played against the app, enjoyed that puzzle quite a bit. Whether I won or lost, you'll have to watch that to find out. Then on Thursday, I did a top 10 games with Rina. It's been a while. It's been almost 2 years since Rina did her top 10. And so in general, Rina and I do a regular monthly series once a month, the games we backed. But then here and there we'll pop in for extra videos, a review here and there, a top 10 list here and there. But it's been a while since she did her top 10 games of all time, and this was a fun little competition guessing game. Highly recommend checking that out if you want. I thought it was very entertaining, fun to watch back and forth as far as I basically guess her top 10. How well I did, you'll have to watch to find out. Then on Friday had Game a Day for November. This is our regular, or my regular, Game a Day Challenge video. Goes up once a month, covering the games I played that month. And this is the second last in the series. I say second last because we will not be doing it going into next year. This is a challenge I set for myself for 2022, where I have to play a new game every single day. And I have so far. I managed to actually keep up. I'm still a week and a half ahead. As long as I play 12 more games before the year is over, I should be fine. But in any case, this was the Game a Day for November. Second last in the series, and we'll see what happens. When I cover December, we'll do that video in January, and then we'll be done with that particular challenge. I may or may not try a new challenge. I should be trying challenges. We'll see what actually happens. But anyways, that is my game a day. And then that brings us to today. Today we have a few things going up. We have the Exit Advent Calendar review, like I mentioned already. That should be going up first. And then later we'll have a review for Orichalcum from Panda Source Games going up after that. As far as next week, starting on Sunday starts the top 100 games of all time. This is not going to be a solo video, not this year. This is going to be myself, Devin, and Meg going through our top 100 games of all time. There are probably going to be 3 of these a week. I don't know why I did like this. 3 of these a week until we're done. So that way it's going to take 3 weeks, basically 3 weeks in a day to get through all of these. But it's going to be probably a Sunday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. That's the aim currently for the next 3 weeks. The top 100 games of all time, to rapidly go through all those 10 games or 30 games, because of the 3 of us, 30 games per episode. We're going to be going through that and hopefully having a fun time. And as far as and then also on Monday will not be a 2-back and not to back. Instead, Monday is going to be the best 10 campaigns of 2022. And you're like, 2022 is not over yet. You're right, it's not. But also I'm going by the end date of the campaigns, which means anything would have to launch in another 3 days for it to be relevant for the end date. So I'm going through the best 10 campaigns of 2022 based on the end date. And yes, I'm doing it a drop earlier than I should. Tough nuggies. And that is everything. As far as the games on the table, we have a whole bunch of games here. The games I hope to dive into this week, it's a little optimistic here, but I'd love to dive into Marvel Remix. I would love to dive into Boop. I would love to dive into Milfury, and I would love to dive into Starship Captains. I'll also throw in the Bargain Bathysphere. I don't know if that'll happen, but we're going to put those 5 as far as the games I hope to play this week. Which of these I actually do play, America's just not going to get tabled this week. Kapow, I don't think so. Ascension Tactics, not yet. Age Contrive, definitely not yet. That's a heavier game. So yeah, I think we're going to pick those 5 as far as the games I table this week. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.